Okay, what's up, everyone? We are live. Welcome to this Friday 8004 live stream with Mother. We are super excited here because we have two special guests, Matt and Nathan, the co-founder of Bond Credit. And I think, we want to speak about different things, but let's start before even jumping in some kind of like a unstructured, unsocial agenda. Let's start with a couple of intros. James, you probably like hit yourself a lot of times co-hosting with me these sessions. You want to quickly introduce yourself before we're getting this intro on our special guests?
Yeah, thank you, Francesco, our illustrious host here. My name is James Young, and a co-founder of Collabland and working on Mother, which is a registry for verifiable agents. Super excited here to talk about credit. Credit and agents is pretty much the heart of, I think, what we're going to talk about today. Super excited because credit in general in crypto, and then specifically in the intersection of AI and crypto is super exciting. So really looking forward to jump into this today.
Exciting, exciting. Yes, I mean, credit is a big topic historically, but also now with agent rising is super spicy. So let's do it. And I also want to say before we're doing the intro, Matt, we really appreciate the time. He's currently like flying to Dev Connect, and his flight I think is 40 minutes. So thanks so much for jumping in. You want to quickly introduce yourself?
For sure, for sure. That's the Web3 spirit, man.
Hustle, hustle.
Decentralized teams, and we're just flying all over the world, like to meet fellow partners and meet, especially in DevConnect. It's very special to meet the community with Ethereum. Yeah. So quickly, I'm a software engineer. I've been in the space since 2018. Worked for projects like Polygon and Mod Network, and now CTO at Bond Credit. Um, and very excited to be part of the ERC 8004 and to show you guys what we are really built and what we're currently building, because we have some exciting news coming in also to integrate X 402 as well. Um, so
Nice.
thank you for the invite.
Oh, nice, nice. I'm looking forward to see this demo. And now, the big elephant in the room, Nathan. I think we met back in the days in some Eigen layer, and this is shout out to Nader, some of the Eigen vaults. Even before A004 was starting, I think like you were super passionate around kind of like the credit kind of like industry, also like background wise. So you want to quickly introduce yourself, why Bond Credit started in the first place too, right? To kind of like show us this passion.
Yeah, definitely. So once again, James, Francesco, big thank you for the invitation. Been waiting for this for a long time. Been a fan of Mother for a while. And yes, we met at Eigen Cloud Hacker House. Med is actually on his way to the Hacker House with Eigen Cloud again. We got invited
Nice.
second time, and we're going to do some exciting things there. My background is in law. So I'm like Lexanode or Stani from Arve, who is a lawyer turned founder. We are rare breeds, and the big why behind credit is because around 5 years ago, my mother had moved from London to Sierra Leone, and I had moved from London to Germany, and my mother was struggling to keep up with the payments on our family home because she had a West African salary. And so she asked me to help get a mortgage, which is basically like a credit from the bank. But because I was working one in crypto and I was abroad in Germany, it was very hard for me to get credit in the UK for a house. And sadly, we had to sell the family home. And it taught me a really valuable lesson about how important credit is, and making sure that credit is permissionless and accurate as well. And I ended up doing some work on a legal side with MakerDAO in my legal career. And then I ended up doing some legal work at that Radar DAO and governance works there, and also TrueFi, which is a credit protocol that tokenized 1.7 billion worth of under collateralized loans. Yes, 1.7 billion worth of under collateralized loans with a less than 4% default on those. But being on the legal side and seeing the due diligence process, the monitoring of our credit, and also the legal defaults that did happen, which were in the millions, I realized that there was a chance to do it better rather than giving credit to off chain actors. We could give it to these new breed of on-chain actors, agents, and see how we can scale up credit using crypto rails. So really excited to go a little bit deeper later on. But that's how Bond.credit started and how I transitioned into leading the creation of this exciting new DeFi primitive.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that you were a maker at Maker. So you go start with first over collateralized, with all of these vaults and everything. I'm sure you must have witnessed what happened. I think it was in
Right.
2019.
Black Friday.
I think they called it
Sort of.
Black Tuesday or something like
Yeah.
that, where you had that fallout with Maker and then going to under collateralized loans. And now with Bond.credit, I can understand your journey here. And what do you think is the hardest thing when it comes to credit, specifically with AI and crypto? What's the hardest problem here that you're trying to solve right now?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, first, it's about understanding that agents there's a spectrum, right? So,
Mm.
agents have a spectrum when it comes to their level of autonomy. So, you've got on one side, like completely autonomous agents, which are non deterministic in their execution and their information gathering. But then on the other side, you have more deterministic agents. Um, that have existed for a long time, even before like AI agents came, like from N8N, right? Um, and so we understood that it was going to take a long time for us to give credit to autonomous agents. We're still understanding how they work. I'm not too sure if you guys are following Alpha Arena. So yeah, of course you are. So these are more on the autonomous side of agents that um, have free reign to decide on how they act. There's a lot less determinism there, but we didn't think that the market was quite ready for that. So we focused on more deterministic agents that were able to access different information sources on chain and democratize access to wealth management for for the average user. Um, and by giving a credit score to these agents, we were going to be able to bring trust and transparency to how well they performed compared to benchmark to the rest of the industry, so that we can start accelerating people looking at this really exciting part in the agentic economy, so that then we can start moving down the spectrum to more autonomous agents later on. You got to start somewhere, and stablecoin yield agents were that wedge that we found in the market.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. From what I'm hearing, what you're saying, Nathan, is that like subjectivity is a big thing to tackle.
Yeah.
So let's just scope it down to just what is deterministic and easily to verify,
Yes.
if I understand what you're saying correctly. And I can imagine this becoming some type of credit ranking, score, leaderboard, however you want to productize it from a UI perspective. And you're just tracking things and pretty much just tracking things that are already like on chain that are fully deterministic. What does that look like from a product perspective? Or do you have a demo or something that we could take a look at in terms of how you're imagining this abstract notion of deterministic credit? And how does that surface from an end user experience?
Yeah, Med, do you want to give a little intro here, and then I could potentially get into to a. Do we want to go into 804 right now, or is that's a little
Yeah,
bit
for
too
sure.
Oh, we can do it. Yeah,
For
sure.
Let's
sure,
do
if you
Yeah.
it.
guys don't mind the
Let's
background.
let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Let's
Let's do
go
it
it.
first.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'm always trying to avoid to talk technical, but I love to talk technicals,
Oh no,
and
let's do it.
just
Do it.
the score has a lot of element to it, so it's a very well taught score. And I think now we're in the fourth month of testing this score. Is something that we start like over 4 months right now, and it goes from aspect of performance, which is on chain, but also about sentiment, but also about off chain, like the audits, the underlying protocols that are used by those agents. So we have over 50 metrics that we're using to compute that score. So it has been chosen to be this way. So it's hard to be gamified, right? And it should be fair for all the agents. Um, that's one. And yeah, it's a leaderboard, but the score will be changing depending on what you want. So if you want to focus more on performance,
I'll just follow up because I think Med's going through security right now. But yeah, as Med said, we've got a ton of sub scores within like the major scores. So we've got performance, we've got risk, social sentiment, and then we have individual metrics underneath those that make up these scores. So that we've got this whole algorithm where, depending on what you care about, you can start to really zero in on that, and then we'll have our overall score that we give them. And we did a soft launch of our leaderboard, where we're doing a test where we've given 2,000 of our own money
Oh,
to each
nice.
agent to start to track just the performance in real time in public. We believe that if you are creating trust and transparency, you need to, and we're saying, hey, these agents are worth putting your trusting with your capital. We should be the ones leading that as well by putting our own money there as well. And so that's what we've done with this. We're calling it season zero of Agentic Alpha, where we're going to be focusing just on the performance in the front, but in the back, as Med said, we're aggregating all these 50 different metrics, and then we are having the first version of our credit engine. And so I can just share what that looks like right now.
We always like to see demos. I think they're really like getting some spicy there. Oh, nice. We see your screen now.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So as Med mentioned, we've got this like live leaderboard where you've got this the money that we've given to the different agents, and they're slowly starting to increase. We actually started it yesterday, so there's not too much of an increase, but we made the scale really small so you can see which ones are performing better than others, and it's going to be really exciting. We're going to give updates on a weekly basis, and then we're going to stop the first season on the 6th of December. And you've got a little read-me of why credit matters, like agents need to earn credibility, credit limits, and receive capital routing, and that we're definitely looking in the future to understand that the agentic economy isn't just agent fi, right? It's going to be deep in, it's going to be robots, and they're all going to need capital allocation as well. But we can start here, which is with stablecoin yield agents. And so we've got the leaderboard, which showcases how much each agent has, and the AUM, and then we're going to have the expected yield and the bond score here as well. So this is the first version. It just got released yesterday. It's a soft launch, so there's going to be a few tweaks along the way, but it gives people a chance to see what we're doing in motion, join the wait list, and also get a little bit more of an understanding about our overall vision moving forward.
Nice, I just shared.
No, I love it. I love it.
So,
Yeah, no, this is great. Because what we need to do here is we need to balance 8004 and the implementation
yeah,
of this. So it's somewhat theoretical, but we love the teams that are actually shipping and providing just some contact with
100%.
reality. Building in public is the way to do it. So this is super stoked, and it takes a lot of I would say courage and a lot of confidence to just be building and trying to prove whether or not your theories are correct or not. Getting something wrong is almost as good as doing something right, because you know what does not work. And we are just discovering all of this. So I love what you're doing in terms of actually building in public, and then also being engaged with the 8004 community. For those that are listening to the stream, highly encourage all the builders to join the 8004 Telegram community. Maybe we can post that for those that are listening or in the recording that would like to join. So we see that Nathan, you have this experience going all the way back to over collateralized to now kind of coming full circle with not just under collateralized but just full credit now. And you're starting with something that is like tightly scoped when it comes to it being just dealing with deterministic things, which is great. And then you've launched season 0. Like you're on the forefront, you're on the cutting edge, and we love to see this.
Appreciate that.
Now swinging back to the more kind of theoretical, what what do you see in 8004? What is it that excites you about it in the context of what you're building and the history that you have with starting from over collateralized to under collateralized to now like just full on
Yeah.
credit? What is it about 8004 that gets you excited, and what are the things that you think are missing from 8004 now from your
I love
purview?
this question. So, as you know, uh, everyone in our space in the agentic economy has been following the development of standards for a long period of time, right? So first we had A2A, which was amazing. You had Google gathering all of these powerhouses together, and I remember going onto the website the first time and seeing all the logos there and being like, wow, like everyone from here is actually on board us getting these layers right. And then we had MCP as well, and it was incredible how people understood that we can't have these agents living in silos, right? We have to have these agents having like a shared language and a shared way to share data. And it was just very clear that the crypto rails were going to be the home of agents. So like whenever I think about the agentic economy, I don't think about it ever without crypto, because agents aren't going to be going to Chase Bank or HSBC to open a bank account. And they need to be able to send data, which also is money, right? That's how crypto has made it. We've made data money, which is super exciting. And so one of the things that was clearly missing, so we had like A2A, which was great to have a shared language. We had MCP, which was to share data. X402 was super exciting because it created this payments layer, and then 804 started to create this trust layer where we can have this verifiability based on attestation, verification, and crypto incentives as well for reputation and identity. But what became very clear is that we're still going to need registries of this reputation and identity, right? And that's why I was really excited about MotherDAO and everything that you guys were doing for the past year. You've been scouring the land for all the best agents that existed and giving them a
Especially
platform.
because people like James are kind of like the OG in the space. I mean, even with Collabland, is all about social coordination. We had this live stream with Billy, and we are speaking about what comes even before the social coordination layer is all about kind of like trust and
Yes.
attestation, verifiability. And I think this use case can translate very strongly around the credit
Yeah.
specific scoring, and so very 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 cool. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think one of the reasons why I really wanted to double down on the fact that the credit layer was like a missing layer in the agentic economy was because this is a layer that you can create a sustainable business model around very, very quickly. And we got validation from our customers who are like, hey, you guys are giving us trust and transparency. We're willing to do revenue sharing agreements with you guys for any of the users that come through your platform to us, right? And so then we can start helping to scale up more reputation data that we can share with our partners. We can start scaling up more users coming into the economy of agents as well, and just giving more spotlight to it because we've got another platform which is creating trust. And uh, when it came to understanding not only that the credit was missing, one of the things that I think will be really important moving forward is that crypto economic incentives for reputation as well. And that's one of the reasons why I'm super excited about EigenCloud and the work that you guys are doing there. I can go into a little bit more detail, but I've been yapping for a bit, so I'm going to take a breather, and so that we can unpack a little bit of all that we've been doing.
Oh, Nathan, you're teasing us. Please dive into it a bit
We like
more.
that. We like that.
We want to know. Please
Okay,
don't tease us.
so this is one of the things like I'm very, very excited about developing moving forward. And I think you guys are moving in this direction as well, that we're going to see, which is um, people being able to use their financial transactions as reputation, whether that's
Yeah.
X402 transactions, whether that's what we're doing, which is like performance of like the actual movement of money, whether that is your balance sheet as well. You're going to have some agents already have balance sheets where they're actually making more money than they're spending, and that could be part of their reputation as well. And then agents are going to be able to stake their own money behind their own reputation as well, and that's when things get super exciting as well, especially when you start thinking about AGI, where we can start holding agents accountable, because the ones that are staking behind themselves are the ones that you know that you can trust. So, for example, sometimes when in the past when I was applying for an Ethereum hackathon, I had to stake money behind my application, and then if I don't
Yes.
show up, I lose that stake. And this is the same principle that we're going to start bringing to agents as well, where we're going to have all of these different, like we're bringing verifiable credit data, then you're going to have attestations on the reputation side that the mother DAO can bring through, but then you're also going to have this crypto economic verifiability from EigenCloud as well. And so it's all going to come together in a really beautiful way, and it's just really exciting to be building with the people putting these pieces together.
Yeah, no, this is fascinating. It actually reminds me of a quote from one of the kind of leads of Berkshire Hathaway. So everyone knows Warren Buffett, but Charlie Munger has some quotes, and I just want to quote this. Trust is one of the greatest economic forces on earth. So this is pre-crypto, pre-AI. It's a real pleasure to earn the trust of your customers slowly over time by doing what's right. And we try to operate in a seamless web of deserved trust and be careful whom we trust. And so this is beyond crypto and AI. This is just how investors look at healthy businesses in general. And trust is one of those things that is kind of distilled down to a score. And you're starting out with these 50 metrics for bond.credit. What do you think it takes? And I guess this is more theoretical now. What does it take? And I see the connecting of the dots here, where you actually start with something that is fully deterministic, right? And you have these transactional relationships to start to provide this trust, and then that moves from a transactional relationship to something that you can actually have a relationship and you can earn and trust. And that is, I think, what's imbued in terms of this credit score. Really, a credit score is a trust score in a sense. And so how do you think about just this kind of using crypto with these agents, these automated programs that can actually respond and do things on your behalf? What have you thought about, like, what does it mean to like trust in this program now? Because Ethereum started with smart contracts, created this trustless substrate. Now from this trustless foundation, you can build proper trust. And so what does it mean to like trust an agent? How do you go from this transactional deterministic kind of score to something that is more, I guess, trust is kind of this intangible thing. So how do you think about this? I guess this is maybe too philosophical, but how do you go from this like transactional relationship to something that can like kind of go beyond that? Like, you may, and I have mentors and networks of people that I have done work with over time. I'm a bit older than both of you. You can tell by my hair, but I've seen that the best type or the strongest relationships have started transactionally. Then you can start building trust, and then you somehow, I don't know where that point is. You then do enough transactions together, and you're like, oh, okay, let's turn this into more of a more trust. And so and this is the way I think about it. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but how do you like think about turning this like deterministic score into something that is a little bit more tuned to what I'm looking for when I'm looking to trust another
Yeah,
project, partner, or AI agent itself?
I really like this framing. So my father always used to explain to me that when you're in the development of a child to an adult, like the child initially starts as dependent. So the
Mm-hmm.
child is dependent on you for its economical support, social support, and well being as well. And then it's not easy being a parent, but eventually the child becomes dependent, right? So the child is able to be economically sovereign and be socially sovereign and be is able to be someone who can look after himself. But the real end goal is for that child and now adult to be interdependent, right? So that it not only trusts itself, but then other people can trust it, and it can trust other people
Mm,
as well.
mm,
And so that's where you want your child or whatever you're bringing to be. And right now we are still at the point where of AI and agents where they have this level of
mm,
dependency, where
mm,
we are the ones that are extending our own social trust and our own economics to develop its independence. But soon we're gonna have these agents that are working independently from agents as they from us as they develop enough trust to start for other people outside of just the early adopters using them, because right now most of the agents are only used by early adopters. And so the goal is for us to make them give them enough trust and transparency so people that are outside of our industry also start using them. And then once they've developed enough trust there, that's when they're going to start becoming interdependent, where agents outside of their circle start
mm,
using them as well because they've developed enough reputation. Now, like this last stage of interdependence is
mhm,
easier said than done when you look at the realities of business outside of crypto, where
mm,
there are more legal and compliance and governance obligations of interacting with um, business units than in crypto, where right now we are able to have this decentralization ethos where you can just every agent business is composable, you can just interact with each other and the like. But we are able to start to develop the necessary primitives ready so that when these agents are moving from like dependency on the early adopters to being independent to finally being interdependent in and bridging in like the capitals market and robotics, like we can already start building some of these initial reputation layers and governance layers to do so. And so we need these types of experiments so that we can develop further. You can't start over there. You need to start here. And so that's what I'm super excited about, just like doing these important experiments here so that when we want to start scaling into more interdependence, we have all of the data and to
Oh
use.
yeah.
So,
I even feel this is almost not just an experiment, like we're building the foundations, right? And
mm,
what you're saying here, Nathan, is also like building also this um, kind of like, next level infrastructure that is based actually like on trust, because, if you think about social interaction, it's kind of like proof of humanity, right? Like I attest that this we have a good relationship and is a third party is always like a physical IRL kind of like a social attestation. But when you
mm,
comes to agent social interaction, we need to actually build this. build this kind of like new paradigms around trust effectiveness, attestation around track record, transparency around payments. That's why also I feel like around payments, X402 is bringing a lot of transparency and standardization of endpoints, right? I'm always like giving this similitude around even when there was NFTs around that you could not move one NFT from OpenSea to Rarible because didn't had kind of like the same NFT standards, right? And right now, just solving this for payments is extremely valuable, right? I think like, and we discussed this previously, we definitely like need other kind of like verticals. But I mean, agent, as you said right now, like at the beginning, at the beginning, you mentioned like we pay the agent. Like we need to kind of like start to think about also like agentic economy and how the economics of the agent will look like on the coordination level. But before doing that, these are valuable experiments also to build this like low layer infrastructure.
100%. Super
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So what I'm hearing from you, Nathan, and I love the analogy that you talked about with your dad in terms of like it's like growing a child. So here on Ethereum is this trust minimized foundation. So what now with where we're at in the ecosystem, now you can choose who you trust, built on this trust minimized foundation. So we are reestablishing trust. This though reminds me of a story. There's a book called Debt: The First 5,000 Years from author David Graeber, and he tells a story where a son has his 18th birthday.
Okay.
And the father gives the son a piece of paper, and the piece of paper is everything itemized that the father has paid for over the lifespan of his son. Okay? And then what happens is the son works hard to pay back that debt and then never talks to his father again, because the father turned a trust-based relationship into a transactional one. So like there are these human things that we have to be careful about when it comes to like the opposite of getting transactional relationships to turn into trust-based ones. And how do we not revert trust-based relationships back into just transactional ones? And I think that a lot of what we're seeing in crypto in this ecosystem, whether it's airdrop farmers or meme coins or other types of coins, that there's no accumulation of trust of who you can work with over time. It's just how quickly can you get in and then like dump on the next guy that's about to come in. And there's no trust there. And I think that it's because we're creating on this trust minimized substrate, and people are taking advantage of that trustlessness. But the real goal here is to now reestablish trust metrics on top of a trust minimized platform. That's kind of what I'm hearing from you and what you're building out there, Nathan. Just wanted to see if that makes sense.
That. And this is why when people ask why we include social metrics into our score, they get quite confused. And once again, it's why I'm bullish on MotherDAO, because you guys are creating that social graph layer that we're potentially going to be able to incorporate into our score, right?
100%.
Because we understand that we're going to have to aggregate different aggregated social data layers, and social graph is going to be an important one for sure.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that you're not building out the Uniswaps or the velodromes for trust. You're building out the 1inch for trust, if that makes sense.
Oh, I like it.
All the BP.finance. I like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. So what do you think is next for Bond.credit? You have this season 0 that's coming out. You're going to be able to monitor this. You're testing in public with your metrics. You're going to be able to fine tune them. What is the hardest thing for you right now in terms of, if we were to get not specific, but in general, when it comes to creating this kind of credit score? What guides you here? Because this is like uncharted territory right now. And what is the heuristic that you guys look at, or why would I want to, at like, let's say you're refining the credit score. What is the appeal and what differentiates bond.credit, and how are you looking at things for those that are interested in learning more about bond.credit and where it's
Yeah, I
going?
think the best way to understand where it's going, and thank you for the question, James, is like understanding the pain points that really got us here, right? So, when I was working at TrueFi, there were three main things that we struggled with when we were scaling our under collateralized credit to 1.7 billion. And so when I came in, I saw, okay, this is a great infrastructure that they built, technically robust, but it was based on social reputation rather than data. And so the due diligence process,
Mm.
it took a very long time to build up these relationships. Monitoring the credit that we gave these individuals off chain was very, very difficult as well. And then whenever there was a default in the credit that was given to an off-chain actor, it was very, very cumbersome to get that money back on the legal side, financially, and sometimes you didn't even get back the money that you gave them. And so we looked at that in Bond Not Credit, and we wanted to break it down by creating this 0 to 1 business where all of the credit process that was traditionally done off chain, we did on chain, right? And it's actually how our product is going to develop, because the first step is doing due diligence of agents on chain. This is expedited because we have this data layer, and we add TEEs when we are aggregating this data and computing it to give more confidentiality and verifiability to that data. And so that's the first stage of us creating this data verifiable data layer. And then the next layer after that is capitalizing and providing credit to these agents. And we're already starting to extend our own capital agents ourselves
Mm.
through this experiment, to see how that would work in the wild. Um, but the really exciting thing about doing it to an agent is we can monitor all the capital that was given to the agent, rather than if you give your credit to an off-chain entity where it's difficult to monitor. And so we start seeing how these
Mm.
agents are performing in with our community as well. We kind of create this entertainment of financial intelligence meta, where people
Yeah.
can see how these agents are developing over real time. And then the last stage of the product development, once we have extended our capital and we're going to allow other people to extend credit to these agents, is creating this insurance layer with EigenCloud, where
Mm-hmm.
you can have
Mm.
junior and senior tranches of the credit being collateralized by staked tokens in EigenCloud. And this is
Mm-hmm.
perfect because, of course, EigenCloud, similar to Ethereum, is looking to be the home of AI as well, with their verifiable compute, and their DA.
Mm.
And so they are a perfect partner moving forward. But there's also other people that are excited about what we're building and want to partner with us as well on the staked, the shared security layer. But those are the three product arcs that we went through. First,
Mm.
verifiable data, um,
Yeah.
providing credit and monitoring it as well. So we'll have an agent to do that. And then the last but not least is creating this insurance layer for the credit as well.
Got it. Got it. So if I were to break this down, if I were to kind of repeat this back to you, there are these kind of three steps: the verifiable step, the monitoring step, and the insurance step. So 1, 2, and 3. You're focused now on the verifiable step right now. And what I'm hearing from you is that you have this experience from a previous project, and it was really hard to do due diligence. And really the project spent a
Yeah,
lot of time earning trust through due diligence. So this verifiable piece, step one, is really, if I'm hearing you correctly, is to automate that due
yeah,
diligence through on-chain transactions first. So what you're doing in order to begin what I would call scaling trust is you need this verifiability of this due diligence, and you're like, okay, like I've done the due diligence. It's on chain through 8004. We can verify everything. And then you can then begin to monitor, similar to what you're doing, I think, with season zero right now. And then now you're offering and fronting your own capital here. Because what you're saying is we've done the due diligence, and now what we're doing is we're going to give you this like smaller
Exactly.
amount. And now you can actually start this monitoring. And then this needs to kind of gain traction so that when the market develops, that you can use
Yeah,
EigenCloud when it comes to this insurance
precisely.
part. And this is how the credit system will work in terms of your strategy, in terms of where bond credit is going. Am I getting
It's
that
spot on.
correct?
You explained it better than I did, James. Yeah, I missed the 8004 part when it comes to the verifiability. I just explained the TEE. But yes, yeah, we're going to be leveraging it.
Yeah. No, but the TE, no, but I think that what the insight that I think you provide is the
Yeah,
TEE part, right? Because you don't want to leak information. But I also appreciate this kind of perspective, not on just kind of the philosophical side, but on the product side, because I heard you say you want to make it fun. This has to be
yeah,
entertaining in a way as well,
cool.
right? And so this is the PMF that you're fitting that makes sense in these larger kind of phases here. And the verifiable phase is what you're looking to just really garner and get momentum on right now, because that is where you really need to start based off of your insight from your past experience, which is um, like priceless, right? So and you need to know not only kind of the tech and the infrastructure, but kind of just human nature has always been the same. They say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. But really, it's human nature that is consistent over time, and the context in which humans interact just changes. That's why you can see patterns. But yeah, this comes back to just how humans to agents now, which is this whole green field. What does that mean for trust? And at the heart of what you're doing with
And
Bond.credit.
we see this pattern.
So super
Yeah.
exciting and makes a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
sense.
James, we see this pattern. It's super exciting, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Nathan, thank you so much. Anything else that you wanna mention before we're closing up here? I think like a lot of people could dive into the Bondos credit, your demo, what you guys are up to, the fact that also you're leveraging the both on the A004 but also on the 402 standard. Any resources that if you were like right now starting to build bundle credit, is there some kind of like lesson learned there that you want to share to other kind of like builder listening to this live stream? You're obviously like now you guys like going to kind of like Eigenbolt again on the hacker house, all these kind of are big lessons. I think also like I'm sure like you also have things that you want to share to kind of like if people were on the starting point now on the A004 journey.
Yeah, I definitely would. Well, first and foremost, appreciate the stage to share like where I'd recommend people pushing towards, and what I would say is be outside.
Yeah, good.
Like
Yeah.
in the first innings of crypto, it was built on fear. I would say fear of
Mm-hmm.
trust
Mm-hmm.
breaking down in institutions,
Mm-hmm.
in politics. Like obviously, I come from the UK. We had Brexit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and how algorithms affected that as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had the breakdown of trust in financial institutions, which is where Bitcoin really stemmed from
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so there was this fear of the world that was becoming, and it was almost a trauma response to
Mm-hmm.
crypto, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's like create a really trustless
Mm-hmm.
society. Let's be under the hood and subvert, and we're seeing this really beautiful development where we are transitioning from that trauma response to
Mm-hmm.
uh, leaning into faith rather than fear,
Mm-hmm.
and building trust by not just being remote and being in our rooms, but
Mm-hmm.
like connecting, creating. We've got network states and societies, right, where people are coming together, shaking hands, like creating culture. And when you do that, you're able to find your tribe a lot faster. Like I wouldn't be here if I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
been in Berlin and met Francesco and Dapper Dad and
Mm-hmm.
seen the video
Oh
that they
yeah.
created and the content that they were doing and that's one of the things I would just recommend. Just it's not easy, it's not too cheap to do, but try to be outside as much as you can for sure.
Look, it's so true. I'm calling it like hypergrow, right? Because you're exposing yourself to kind of like hyper connection. You're throwing yourself out there.
Yeah,
You just get like exposed on a lot of like different experience. And I think, this ecosystem kind of like events, even if you're participating online, are an opportunity also to kind of like, grow in connection by learning because you got bombarded with a lot of information. I think the responsibility is up to you if you're able to digest all this information post Dev Connect, right? Catching up with all, not just all the connection, but also all the learnings and
yeah,
kind of digest all this information. So I think hypergrow, and I think you mentioned also the don't be afraid. I think to be outside. I also like even like follow up on don't be afraid to kind of like fail on that side, right? I think that's super important. Don't be afraid to fail, and maybe we should start some kind of like, you remember, I really like when I was in SF there was this fuck up nights. I don't know if we can
oh
mention it
yeah,
here. And actually people were saying multiple founders, serial founders, actually with the lesson learned and how they were actually like growing in this journey. I think this is so important. And for like
Yeah.
A004 is so interesting because we are getting started and we are seeing so much kind of like dApps accepting it, but it's also a lot of lesson learned coming before because the agents has been run for a long time,
yeah,
right? Even not on Web3 Rails, right? You always had Python, Scraper, LP, Rebalancer that were basically like boats
Yeah.
rebalancing on Python, right? So
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is that we are approaching also like a way that is much more permissionless, transparent, and building these social paradigms are key to kind of like, and that's why I say like let's not even call it experiment. These are fundamental journeys that we need to have, and the only way to do it is together. Yeah, social
Yeah. No,
coordination,
I,
James.
I,
There you are.
yeah, it's all about social coordination. And I think, Nathan, what I'm hearing from you is there is this like shift in wider crypto because, people know about crypto and all of that. And what I'm hearing from you, Nathan, is we're transitioning in a
yeah.
mindset from just minimizing
Mm.
fear to now trying to maximize
Wow.
faith, right? So that's a transition, and that's why it requires this kind of social coordination, which coordination is necessary but not sufficient. You need to have coherence where you have to now coordinate people but now steer them in the kind of same direction, but we're not re-centralizing a credit score. This is all decentralized, so people get to kind of choose their own algorithm, right?
Yeah,
And so now AI, as Francesco said, AI or bots and all of these like sniper bots, rebalancing bots, they've
yeah,
existed, but now AI just allows the
yeah.
democratization of that, because now you can just natural language and then have the AI build that algorithm for you.
I really, yeah, that's the best way to close up, James. I really
Oh,
appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Nathan, James.
yeah.
Looking forward also to see if you're joining Dev Connect or anything else.
Ooh, come
And
on.
yeah, maybe a part two after you guys pushing this experiment.
Yeah.
It definitely deserve like a live stream, especially because
Oh,
I mean
thank
the
you.
industry here is
Yeah.
is super strong where you guys are working on. Awesome.